I wanted to talk to you about intentionality in your life. I had made a shorter reel about this, but I wanted to expand on this topic a little bit further. Simply because I believe that intentionality requires a lot more than just purposing in your mind to have an objective that you eventually want to label as a goal to then accomplish. And yes, I believe there's a difference between having goals and having objectives. So in having a planned life, there needs to be a mindset to want to keep improving upon the circumstances you're in. Now, to give you an example of what that could look like, for me, when I got laid off from my job, I think it was like 2 or 3 days after getting laid off, I'm like, I have to create habits and I have to create specific processes or else I am going to go down a deep, dark little rabbit hole and it's not going to make life much better. And so I chose at that point to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, to get the house tidied up, do the dishes, make coffee, make lunches for my husband's work job, getting all that done before he got up. When he left the house, having a system when it came to getting my devotions done, focusing on house chores that needed to be completed. So every day I was trying to do something different. And ultimately, that really helped me ground myself, because up to the end of June when I had gotten laid off, so basically the beginning of July, I had always been working. I had started working when I was 14 years old. I was picking strawberries on a local strawberry farm in the farm hills of Pennsylvania. And I've worked ever since. And I can tell you that having gone through an experience like getting laid off, you don't think it's going to happen to you until it does. And so for those of you who have experienced that before, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who have had it, who haven't experienced that, thank God, that's great. But don't ever let yourself get to a point where if something that drastic does happen, you don't have a contingency plan in place to reestablish how you exercise yourself in your day-to-day. So, in having a planned life, the concept of intentionality means grounding yourself by creating steps and processes. And this is something that I have done for different organizations, multi-million-dollar businesses. I have done on a private level for me and my husband. I've done for friends, my church, different facets of life that I've encountered where I've created steps, processes, and organization out of nothing. So I guess you could say it's something that I am experienced at, but I'm not bad at. I'm actually pretty good at. It's one of my gifts. And what I wanted to do was paint a picture for you so that you as a woman can look at what you have in front of you in terms of your daily life, and you can begin creating those steps and processes for yourself. Now, I'm not saying you have to build these crazy elaborate spreadsheets. You have to have some sort of visual goal map. I'm not saying you have to have any of that. What I am saying, though, is you need to create an intentional movement forward by identifying your objectives, taking those objectives and getting them to a certain point where you can now label them as goals, and then accomplishing ultimately what those goals are. And I said earlier that I believe there's a difference between the two, and I'm going to tell you why. Objectives are, let's say that they're finish lines that you visualize in your life, but you don't put a timeline on them. Goals implies that you actually have a timeline set to it. So if you have a goal to lose weight in 30 days, or you just say, I have a goal to lose weight, naturally we're going to think, okay, you're starting a diet today, and you're going to accomplish this weight loss journey over a period of several months. Whereas if I were to say, I have an objective to lose weight, that means, oh, okay, so eventually that's going to happen. There's no real timeline to it. And I think that there's a very realistic expectation put on yourself to determine what are objectives and what are goals in your life. I'm not saying that it's bad to have either one. I've listened to different podcasters, different Christian business influencers, people who are very well established in their industries speak on this. And they all have different opinions in terms of what may be considered good and what isn't. For me and what I've gone through thus far, I think it's healthy to have a balance of both objectives and goals, but you need to be realistic in what you identify those as. So coming back to the subject of intentionality, if you intend to lose weight, if your intention is to lose weight, then you need to determine, okay, is this an objective or is it actually a goal? If it's an objective, that means you give yourself some flexibility to do what you have to do to learn how to better your mindset, how to improve your mindset, how to better your process for getting to that goal or that, eventual goal, and then start walking your way towards it to then identify it as a goal. Or you could simply just say, hey, I want to lose weight. This is my goal. That means you just hit the ground running and you don't stop. Now, in having these two ideas of objectives and goals, do not use them as a way to sort of excuse yourself from holding yourself accountable. I want to say this because I heard a podcaster say it, and I listened to a lot of his stuff. His name's Myron Golden. And he actually talks about this subject of objectives and goals. He's very much on the side of objectives, not necessarily goals. But he said that if you are not getting better in what you want to do, then that means you're not moving. So really, you only have two options. You are either improving yourself daily, whether it's tiny, tiny baby steps or whether it's actual large, I guess we could say, steps forward, but it's strides towards what you want to do. Or you're just not moving, you're stationary, you're like, oh, I'm going to put this off, I'm going to do this later, I'm going to do this next week. At that point, you're not getting better at anything. In fact, your circumstances aren't changing, and if they do change, it's because they're getting worse. So, after having been laid off, I was unemployed, let me think, July, August, September, October, November. So, I was unemployed for about 5 months. I think it was just shy of 5 months. And then I was hired for a full-time opportunity in the county where I live. And I'm not going to lie to you, the job's not easy. There's a lot to learn. And it is a full 5-day in-office role where rush hour traffic is literally an hour and 45 minutes in the morning and almost 2 hours at night. So you can imagine the type of long days I have on top of my personal commitments. And so it has not been easy for me. With that being said, I decided literally on day one, my very first day commuting to my job, I'm like, you know what? I have all this extra time that I'm going to be sitting in my car doing absolutely nothing except going from point A to point B. How can I better utilize that time? And ever since that day, I believe it was November 11th, ever since that day, I have listened to podcasts. I use ChatGPT a lot. If you want to learn how to use ChatGPT, let me know in the comments. It's a great efficiency tool. And notice I said tool. That's a whole nother talk for a whole nother time. I have listened to audiobooks. I have been going on this journey of reading my Bible in a year. That started in January. But I've been taking all these steps to prioritize my time efficiently in my vehicle simply because I have almost 4 hours of commute time that I have to complete every single day, 5 days a week. That's 20 hours of time that I'm literally sitting in a seat doing nothing except traveling. And so with that, I've noticed that my mindset has changed on a lot of things. Let me take that back. I don't mean a lot of things as in like I had a terrible mindset. I mean a lot of things in terms of subjects that I was never really educated in that now I've learned about, such as finances, for example, entrepreneurship, subjects that I've always wanted to learn more about, but just didn't know how. And now through God's good grace, now I've been put in this opportunity to better utilize time in a different way based on my current circumstances. And I share all that with you not to like make you feel bad for me or to just say, hey, here's my story. I'm telling you that because if you find yourself in a situation where it's just not ideal and it's not what you would have wanted, you need to learn how to better improve upon the circumstances you're in. So think outside of where you're at. Don't let what's right in front of you blind you from the opportunity that surrounds you. That's all I wanted to share with you today in terms of intentionality in the planned life. If you like what you're hearing, if you have questions for me, let me know in the comments. Subscribe, follow. I'd love to know what you're thinking. I'm here to help. I'm turning this into something that is meant for you as a woman to help you improve upon your life, upon the circumstances you're currently in. And who knows, help you start that business, help you become that entrepreneur, help you to be a better wife or a better businesswoman or just somebody who's more involved in their church, whatever the case may be. Let me know. I want to help you. Drop a comment, like, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.